But I want you to remember what is, think of America now. Are we strong or weak? What weakens us? Here's something that grabbed my attention. This is from Timbuktu. I didn't know there was really a place called Timbuktu. I'll kick you to Timbuktu, buddy. Timbuktu, Mali. The photocopies of the manual lay in heaps on the floor in stacks that scaled one wall like Xerox stapled handouts for a class. Except that the students in this case were Al-Qaeda fighters in Mali. And the manual was a detailed guide with diagrams and photographs on how to use a weapon that particularly concerns the United States. A surface-to-air missile capable... Think about it now. A surface-to-air missile capable of taking down a commercial airline. Oh, let's see. Has that happened before? Has that happened before? What flight was that? That it shortly after takeoff from New York, it goes out over the Atlantic Ocean, and all of a sudden it just explodes and breaks up into 1,000 pieces. And the FBI investigated, and what was it, TWA Flight 800? Go back and research that. Because there were people that said, we saw a smoke trail going up. We saw something flying from down here to up there, and all of a sudden the plane exploded. FBI said, oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. There was a problem in the gas tank. That's what it was. There was a problem in the gas tank. This was during the days of Bill Clinton. And nobody would believe the story that someone with a surface-to-air missile shot down TWA Flight 800. No one would believe it. Well, now we found the manual. We found the training manual that says this is what we do. And we're pretty good at it. And we want to teach you how to be good at it. Now, here's what grabbed my attention about this. 26-page document in Arabic, recovered by the Associated Press in a building that had been... Why the Associated Press? Why did the news people get this and not the government? In a building that had been occupied by Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb in Timbuktu, strongly suggests the group now possesses the SA-7 surface-to-air missile, known to the Pentagon, listen to this, known to the Pentagon as the Grail. That's what got my attention. According to terrorism specialists. And it confirms that the Al-Qaeda cell is actively training its fighters to use these weapons. Yeah, man, like we tried it out a few years ago back when Bill Clinton was in office. We shot down 800. Man, it works good. Let's teach you how to do it. All of a sudden, conspiracy theorists are not so stupid. Well, maybe we are. But anyway, it makes us look better. Internal Revenue Service. Republican members of the House Energy and Commerce Committee are looking into allegations that the Internal Revenue Service seized 60 million medical records from a California health care provider. IRS. 60 million health records, medical records. Doesn't it scare anybody? I mean, there's some things, and I got an article about a lawsuit I'm going to talk about. I'm a minister, and even though I'm not Roman Catholic, and you don't have to confess your sins to me in order to go to heaven, I've had people in my office in confidence tell me things. Pastor, I need to get this off my chest. Pastor, I need help. I need this. I need that. I've had people on Facebook message me and say, Pastor, boy, you wouldn't believe the problem I have. I blah, 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 blah. And I'd write them back. No, not on Facebook. Don't do that. This is not secure. But and I actually found out several years ago, there is a legality to pastoral confidence. That if someone tells me something, barring like child abuse or a crime or something like that, if someone tells me something in confidence, I could get sued if I tell what they told to any other human being. And that's the law. That's the law. And it's supposed to be that way with your doctor. You're supposed to be able to go into your doctor and say, "Doctor, look, I've got a little, it's kind of embarrassing, but I've got this, blah, 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 blah." The doctor says, he's writing it all down. And you're going, "Oh, he's writing it down." You have something that you're supposed to believe that this is in confidence, that it's just between you and your doctor, and no one else can find out about it. And it works good protecting those with AIDS and junk. But that's something that we're supposed to be relying on. And now they remember when they passed this emergency bailout bill, someone slipped that in there, that now all the medical records have to go online and be digitized. Every one of them. Why? So the IRS can get a hold of them. The IRS did not go and get 60 million boxes worth of medical records. They just did like a 5-minute download. Is what they did. IRS. What in the name of all that is holy does the IRS need with medical records? Here's a quote. The Committee on Energy and Commerce is investigating allegations that the Internal Revenue Service, in the course of executing a search warrant at a California healthcare provider's corporate headquarters in March 2011, improperly seized personal medical records of millions of American citizens in possible violation of the Fourth Amendment. Members of the committee wrote in a letter Tuesday to acting IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel. The letter to Werfel, which requires a response by June 25th, comes on the heels of a lawsuit filed by an unnamed healthcare provider against the IRS in California Supreme Court. Lawsuits. Here's another lawsuit. And this, to me, this is interesting to me. There is a PRISM class action lawsuit filed, $20 billion injunction sought against complicit companies and officials. Former Justice Department prosecutor Larry Klayman filed a federal class action lawsuit Wednesday against the 9 companies named in a top-secret National Security Agency document published June 6 as partners in the NSA's PRISM Internet Surveillance Program. The Watchman broadcast is being edited as wir sprechen. Lindsay is down there. And by the way, here's some news. Drum roll, please. We're going to have a new look. Okay? New look to the Watchman broadcast. I think you'll like it. I worked on this. I had some time yesterday afternoon. I worked on this for probably a couple hours. So if you don't like it, I don't care. Because I worked on it. All right? Anyway, the Watchman broadcast coming out Sunday. It's going to be dealing with the PRISM symbolism. PRISM symbolism. The symbolism of the prism. But anyway, there's a lawsuit. These people are suing. They're suing Apple. They're suing Google. They're naming all these companies and entities, and they're naming government officials over this spying on confidential, private conversations, records, things like that. Now, here is something that I'm going to throw into this. I think that this is interesting. As I mentioned before, there is a protection under the law for confidential matters that are discussed with a minister, that they are to remain confidential. I'm not sure on this. Maybe somebody out there is smarter than me. Maybe there's a lawyer or judge who will know the law on this. But again, short of someone confessing a crime to me, which if someone tells me, "Hey, I abused my child," I have to make a phone call and say, "I got a guy here. He just told me this." I'm required by law to do that. I'm a mandatory informer is what I am as a minister. But short of them confessing child abuse, things that they tell me, like, well, I had an affair, or, I have a problem with this, or I have a problem with that, or this and that and the other, things that they tell me, I'm not real sure I can even divulge in court. I'm not real sure on that. So there is, I think, a legal precedent. And here's why I'm saying this. I don't think I'm going to pursue it. I don't have time for it. But maybe there are other ministers out there, if you have received emails from people, or instant messages or Facebook messages or anything like that, of someone coming to you as a pastor and divulging confidential information. And they say on there, please don't share this. I have people send me emails during Pastor Mike Online, and I tell you, be very careful because I'm liable to read it unless you say, Pastor Mike, don't read this online. I've had people write me emails saying, Pastor Mike, please don't share this with anybody, but I've got to tell you something. Though that represents a confidential, a protected confidential information from a congregant to a pastor that nobody in the whole world has any business knowing. But now the government knows it. And I think the law, I'm going to root the lawsuits, man, because I've had that happen. I've had people write me emails. I've had people Facebook me. I've had people send me messages and make phone calls. Pastor, I got to talk to you. That's confidential. That is not Barack Hussein's business or anybody else's business. It's not Google's business. It's not anybody's business but mine and theirs and God's. And I think there's legal precedent for it. And I say sue away. So it begs the question, what condition? I was thinking about this last night. Let's go back to those of you who remember. Let's go back to the days of Jimmy Carter. Let's go back to the days of America post-Vietnam War. I mean, we just went through the whole hippie thing, the war protests. Vietnamese combat veterans were coming back to nothing. They were treated like dirt in this country. And I tell you what, I hate that, and I still do. I still do. By the way, let me throw this in. There was one good thing I got out of Branson, Missouri. We went to, and I was going to talk about this, but I was so sick when I came back. But I want to tell you this. If you are ever looking for a place to go on vacation, Branson, Missouri is the place in America to do it. I'm not kidding you. My wife and I, of course, I've been going down there since I was a young man. I mean, I was a boy the first time I went down there. Silver Dollar City and the shows and the shops and the food and the hotels. I mean, they cannot be beat. And all of them are family-oriented. I mean, great places. Family-oriented. The shows, my goodness, the shows down there are good music. They are usually patriotic, and many of them are Christian in their themes, Christian in their statements. It is, I cannot brag enough on, I think, one of the best, if not the best place in the entire country to go on vacation is Branson, Missouri. And I found down there used to be a Starbucks down there. Blah. I still crave Starbucks. I miss it. I have not had a Starbucks since I said I'm not going to eat drinking Starbucks anymore. It has nothing to do with health. I think Starbucks made me better looking. Okay? But there used to be a Starbucks there, and then it went out of business, or they moved out or something like that. They shut them down. And in its place, there's a coffee shop there. It's at this hotel right on the Strip. 76 Highway is called the Strip in Branson, and it doesn't look anything like Vegas, I guarantee you. But it's right on the Strip, right on the main drag in Branson, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go in there and check it out. And I went in there, and I said, I want a large coffee with room. He said, you want